Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Unquestionably Raw NBA podcast. I'm your host, Matt Miller, and today I've got my man Brady Klopfer of B-Ball Breakdown with us, and once again, Gonzo returning. And today we're going to preview the New York Knicks. This is our second team that we've previewed for the upcoming season. And I'm going to start with some of the offseason moves, including we'll put the draft in there too. You draft Frank Ntilikina, and then you bring in Damian Dotson in the second round, who looks like, to me, I said on draft night, he's going to be the steal of the second round. You sign Tim Hardaway Jr. to the big contract. You bring in Ramon Sessions. Carmelo Anthony's still there. We'll get in on, we'll talk about that in a little bit too. Brady, what did you think of their offseason moves, including, picking up Ntilikina and Dotson in the draft? Uh-oh. Gonzo.
Yeah.
You go, Gonzo. I don't think Brady heard me.
Oops, sorry, guys.
Okay.
That's all right. Here we go. That's all right. Hey, did you hear what I said about all the off-season stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. What did you think of their off-season?
Horrible. I mean, it was just kind of a meddling off-season until they go and throw that kind of money at Tim Hardaway Jr. It's absolutely unfathomable to me that a team whose foundation is built on a young player in Kristaps Porzingis, who has a high draft pick, would then go and commit another horrible contract after the horrible contracts that they committed last year. So you look at, this team is, for me, this is a three-person team for the Knicks. This is Frank, last name I don't want to try to pronounce.
It's Ntilikina.
Ntilikina. I always want to put the T in there.
Yeah, Ntilikina.
You got
T side.
Frank Ntilikina, Kristaps Porzingis, and Willie Hernan-Gomez.
Hey, real quick, I got to correct. It's Billy Hernan-Gomez.
Billy.
Yes, the W is actually pronounced as a B. Yes.
I got to stop muting these commentators on League Pass, man. I'm gonna learn something.
I don't even think they. I think it was Mike. You know how Mike Bream is the voice of the Knicks. He was the one who pointed out that it's Billy. Right. Yeah, he said Billy Hernan-Gomez. Yes.
I'm learning some things to do. But it's those three. It's Hernan-Gomez, Porzingis, and Ntilikina. And then you've got Carmelo Anthony, Tim Hardaway Jr., Joakim Noah. Those guys are owed $70 million a year.
Carmelo's not so bad because his is coming off the books soon. And
his is going to come off the books, and they can hopefully trade him without absorbing too much. But they already had the Carmelo contract, which was meh. They already had the Noah contract, which is horrible. They're clearly a team that should be building for 3 or 4 years down the road with these young talents that they have. And they go and drop $70 million on Tim Hardaway Jr., who, what's Tim Hardaway Jr.? A sixth man?
He's a good scorer off the bench. He's a good scorer off the bench to me.
Yeah, which is great. It's not $70 million worth of great, but
no.
So, I give them a pretty bad grade. If I have to grade them for the summer, I'd probably give them something like a D or a D minus just for that contract.
Just for the contract and not getting rid of Noah or Carmelo. I guess you can't fault them for getting rid of Noah. How can you get rid of him?
Yeah, that's an albatross contract. They're going to have a hard time.
The only way they're going to move that is if they give up Porzingis in the deal.
Yeah, screw that. Exactly. But they got to get rid of. They got to find a way to get rid of Carmelo. I like Ntilikina. All right. I think it was good that they got kind of a long-term move there into the draft pick rather than a guy who's going to be a hot shot, put up big rookie numbers, and then kind of fade out. I think there's some other directions I might have gone if I were them, but I can't really fault that draft pick until a few years down the road. But it's also, they didn't do anything. You can't give them too many points for drafting Ntilikina when they just had that lottery pick there. They didn't do anything special to move up in the draft. They didn't do anything special to acquire any young talent. They just drafted what they thought was the best player available, as all crappy teams should do. And then they went out and had a horrible free agent signing. So all things considered, I don't see how this team is making any good moves here or getting any better.
Absolutely. And I wonder if Phil Jackson, obviously they got rid of him, so that's big. I wonder if he's not the GM, if the guy that came in from the Kings is, what's his name, Perry? I think I can't remember what his name is.
Yeah,
but
something like
do you think they take Dennis Smith Jr. instead of Ntilikina if Phil's not the GM?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And I think that would have been a bet. I mean, obviously hindsight is 2020 with summer league here, but it's shocking to me. I like Ntilikina, I really do.
He's got a really smooth game.
He does. He has a very smooth game. I think he's going to be a quality player in a few years. It's going to take him a while. But the thing about Dennis Smith Jr. is this dude is, I mean, what I think someone said they measured him at a 48-inch vertical.
Yeah, he's got some serious bunnies.
So when you take your franchise cornerstone being Kristaps Porzingis, who's 7'3", plays like a small forward or a power forward, not like the greatest athlete in the world, but for 7'3", about as good of an athlete as you're going to get.
Yes.
Especially tailored for the modern game. And now you have an opportunity to pair him with a point guard who is an absolute physical abnormality. You got to do that, in my opinion. If you can make your two players two of the most freakishly athletic guys in the league, that's just your foundation.
I mean, we already know. Yeah, we already know Porzingis is a unicorn. So you team him up with the reincarnation of Baron Davis. Hey, I mean, yeah, I'm sticking with it. I'm sticking with Dennis Smith Jr. being Baron Davis 2.0. He's not Steve Francis. He's not Steve Francis.
I like it.
Exactly. Gonzo.
I'm a big Baron Davis fan, so I like that.
Yes. Gonzo, what do you think of the Knicks this offseason, man? What did you like some of the moves they made? Drafted Ntilikina.
No, I hated every move that they made this year. They pissed off. They pissed off Kristaps at the end of last season, and he really doesn't want to be a part of the organization anymore. You know, and it's kind of sad because you actually got a legit star in Porzingis, you got a superstar in Melo, and you can't get enough players around him. Even though Tim Hardaway is a good guy off the bench, Ramon Sessions is a proven NBA veteran. You know, it's the Eastern Conference. The Eastern Conference, you should be able to make it to the playoffs on accident. You can literally get drunk, get in your car, do 80 miles per hour, and let your hands off the wheel with your eyes closed and fall right into the playoffs.
You have Carmelo Anthony and Kristaps Porzingis. You should be in the playoffs.
Yes, at least in the East, in the A spot. Look, like I said, last year, Fred Hoiberg and that whole Bulls roster, they drove into the playoffs intoxicated, like I said, with no hands on the wheel. And they drove right into the playoffs. Like, they crashed right into the playoffs on accident. You can say the same for Indiana. You know, they just kind of fell into the playoffs because it's the Eastern Conference. I mean, like, anybody, we look at it and we say Toronto's a 3 and a 4 seed every year. I mean, because it's the Eastern Conference. And the truth of the matter is, I think the 41-41 Bulls and the Indiana Pacers and the Miami Heat last year who did make the playoffs, I think they're all better than Toronto. But because it's the East, I think Toronto gets a whole lot of credit. And it's a shame that the Knicks can't scratch and sniff the playoffs right now. It's terrible.
I totally agree. But with this offseason, I do like. I would have preferred him to take Dennis Smith Jr. I'm not mad that they took Ntilikina. I mean, another foreign guy just like Porzingis in there, and Gomez. I do, like I said before, I think Damian Dotson's going to be the steal of the draft. Decent athlete, can really shoot the basketball, put it in the hole. I think he'll get some. I think he's going to get some minutes. The Tim Hardaway Jr. signing, had it have been $7 to $10 million a season, I would have said, okay, it's a good signing. He'll come off the bench for him. Maybe he starts now. I don't know. Are they going to go Courtney Lee, Tim Hardaway? I almost think you got to go Tim Hardaway Jr. just because you're not paying him to come in and be a bench guy, 6-man. You're not going to pay that kind of money.
Horrible team, no less.
Exactly. So I think you almost, which tells me they're probably going to end up moving Courtney Lee. I think he's probably out of there. Ramon Sessions, he's getting older. He is what he is. I mean, he doesn't impress me. He'll get some minutes off the bench though. And I'm guessing, we'll get to it in a minute with the starters. Now, I want to talk a little Carmelo Anthony real quick before we get to their depth with the starters and the bench. Gonzo, do you think Melo gets traded before the season starts? Do you think he maybe before the, right around the trade deadline? Or do you think maybe he sticks it out all year with them?
I think they might trade him before the deadline. I mean, at this point, my hopes for Carmelo Anthony have kind of dwindled. I don't think he's the player that he once was.
Unless they let him wear that hoodie.
Just and even Hoodie Melo, he's playing against he's killing against LeBron. But these are like rec league. This is like rec basketball, recreation center basketball. Like it looks easy now,
and nobody's playing defense.
And nobody's playing defense. Wait till Carmelo has to play defense. I mean, he's probably going to get worn down trying to stick guys like LeBron for real and probably jack up terrible shots on the other end just to try to keep up. But Melo is right now. I think he's a good complementary player. He will be a good complementary player in Houston. Mm-hmm. He would probably be a good complementary player to LeBron in Cleveland. But look, he's not really. And when I say Melo's a superstar, he's a superstar according to career stats. But as superstar now in the present state he is in now, is he a superstar? No, he's not. He's a complimentary player. Period. He
could be a good second. He could be a really good second scorer, or a third scorer on a great team. Like he'd be a good second, like you said, a good second scorer for the Rockets behind James Harden. Because we know Chris Paul's not going to. He's not really. He can score, but it's not what he does. I'm with you on that, Brady. I know you're not the biggest Melo fan in the world. He's still a good player, though.
Still a good player.
He's still a good player. He's not trash.
He's not incredibly valuable unless you have him in the right situation, in my opinion. Because he's still a ball stopper.
Oh, real quick. I forgot to say it. We did not talk about it. Michael
Beasley.
Yeah, we're going to get to him in a second. I popped in my head. I don't know how I couldn't saw what he said, but continue about Carmelo, then we'll get to Michael Beasley in a second. Greatest scorer of all time.
Gotta talk about Michael Beasley. Carmelo, I think he's a good representation of the difference between having talent and having value. He's still a guy who has an immense level of skill. He can do a lot of things, but his role that he's used to playing and that he wants to play is that number one option who gets the ball, stops the offense, lets the defense set, jab steps for, 10 seconds, and then goes and scores. And he's not good enough at that, and the modern game isn't made that way. So, I think he still has value, but it's going to have to come with a team that can really put him in a place where those skills he has are actually useful instead of just impressive. As for his future...
Where do you think he ends up? Do you think he gets traded at some point?
I think he gets traded at the deadline.
Okay.
I don't think they're going to trade him right now because I don't think there's a high enough market for them to get a really good player for him.
And they don't want to take back Ryan. And they don't want to take back Ryan Anderson.
Yeah, they don't want to take back a bad. The only thing that makes sense for them to trade him for is future assets, get some draft picks, get some young players, things like that. I don't think they would do that just because I think they're worried about the fan base. I think they have pissed off the fan base so much over the past few months by annoying Porzingis, by having all this drama, by the whole Phil Jackson thing, the Charles Oakley thing, all this stuff. I don't think they'd make a polarizing move right now with the fan base. So I think rather than make that move for future players, they're going to go into the season claiming that they're going to try to make the playoffs. They're going to see how well Carmelo and Porzingis can do. And when they get to, January and they're a horrible team, then it's a lot easier to sell your fan base on, all right, this isn't working out. We're just going to take whatever we can get. And you're going to find a team that's more desperate for him.
I think it's still Houston because I think that's he wants to play with his boys, Chris Paul and James. So I think he ends up there eventually. And I think they can get a third team that will maybe give up mid first round picks. And I think the Knicks at this point would take a couple mid first round picks for Carmelo. You're not going to get a top 10 pick for him. Nobody's going to give up top 10 picks in three, because the team that's going to be giving those are going to have to take back Ryan Anderson or a Trevor Ariza, and you're not giving up a top 10 pick for those guys. Maybe they can swindle the Kings with Ryan Anderson because he's from Sacramento. We'll see. It's going to be really interesting. But I want to talk to the best scorer on their team now, Michael Beasley. Brady, what do you think of this signing right here?
It's so much of it depends on how they use him. I do think Michael Beasley has some quality talent in there. My whole thing with a bad team is don't get veteran players who are going to impair your ability to play and develop younger players. Mm-hmm. There's just no reason that they should be playing Michael Beasley at the expense of shots that other players who are still developing and have something to prove.
Yeah. I mean,
if they
go ahead, no, keep going.
If they bring him off the bench and just use him as a good scorer and he plays really well, then you've got this cheap contract that you can flip to someone who is headed for the playoffs who actually needs him. So I love these kinds of contracts where you're not locking into something long and bad. Your worst case scenario is you paid a few million. Your best case scenario is you prove that he's a good player.
I mean,
and you can trade him to a team.
Like he said, he's a walking bucket. How can you go wrong with a walking bucket? That's what.
And he's entertaining, man, which is good for New York.
Exactly.
You need in New York. You got to have guys who can put the ball in the hoop. You got to have guys that are fun to watch. So I like it. I think it's a signing as long as Hornacek isn't doing something stupid and having him be, the first option in lineups that have Porzingis in it.
Yeah. Before I go to you, Gonzo, I'm going to read the quote that Michael Beasley said because I loved it. The guy's entertaining. I'll bring what they saw in college. I just need the opportunity to show that. Look at my 9-year career. I've always been close to a point a minute. I've always been a walking bucket. Nobody can stop me. So I mean, Gonzo, what do you think of this signing, bringing in Michael Beasley to come off the bench and be a walking bucket?
It's a good idea. It's just unfortunately he's going to be doing it for the Knicks. So he'll be getting buckets off the bench, but they won't make the playoffs. It's kind of a sad spot. Sad spot the New York Knicks are in. Like they've been out of the playoffs they haven't been a championship contending team.
No, since Patrick Ewing.
The 70s. Yeah, Patrick Ewing. But even then they weren't contending they weren't even contending with the championship against the Rockets. I'm sorry, there just wasn't any competition. But
and the only reason they got there is because Michael Jordan retired, and the Bulls still should be. And the refs robbed the Bulls that year. They called that foul. On
with that foul, Hubert Davis. Yeah, Scotty fouled Hubert Davis and gave him 3 free throws.
The Bulls would have won that series.
The Bulls would have won that series, but like I said again, they haven't really been contenders, and like I said, they've made a lot. The front office has made a lot of bad choices. Honestly, the only way I see the Knicks going up from here is ownership eventually selling the franchise to someone else who can do a much better job.
Hey, I'm with you on that. Dolan's a terrible owner. He's up there. He might be the worst. I mean, there's a couple of them, but he's definitely in the top 3 worst owners. All right, that took a while for the offseason moves. I didn't think it'd take that long, but that's all right. We'll get moving here to go on a little depth chart. We'll start with the starters. Brady, how do you see the starting lineup shaking up to begin the season? Not what you want to happen, but how do you think it's going to look?
Well, there's no way that they're going to start the rookie at point guard. They're just not going to. No. There's no way they're going to do that. So obviously you got Porzingis in there. You obviously got Melo. I'm assuming he's going to be healthy.
Yeah.
You got to start Hardaway Jr. because $20 million on a crappy team and not start him. At center, I would obviously love to see them start Hernan Gomez. I think they have to start Noah.
If he's healthy.
You got a veteran. If he's healthy, you've got a veteran and a guy who you committed $70 million to who's just in the second year of his deal. Mm-hmm. You can't give that warning sign that you're giving up already. Yeah. The point guard issue is a really weird one for them.
It is.
They don't for it. I kind of think that they're going to just go with Lee and Hardaway in the backcourt. Not really have a playmaking point guard. That probably isn't.
That means Carmelo Anthony's probably going to be the one handling the ball then.
Yeah, I think I'm letting my opinion of what they should do and what they will do get a little.
That's all right, man. I haven't heard that one, but it's interesting. It's interesting. Tim Hardaway.
I think that would make more sense.
He does have good genes, so maybe he can do a little ball handling.
Exactly. It wouldn't surprise me if they try that, but ultimately, I mean, you've gone out and gotten a backup level point guard in free agency. You might as well actually start him instead. So For being honest, that's probably what they'll do instead.
So you think Sessions is the opening night?
I'd say Sessions, Hardaway, Carmelo, Porzingis, Noah.
Okay. Gonzo, how do you see this Knicks starting lineup shaping up to start the season? What do you think Hornacek's going to do?
I'm saying he's probably going to put Ramon Sessions as point guard.
Okay.
I'm probably going to go with Courtney Lee.
Okay.
Small forward, obviously Carmelo. Power forward, Porzingis. Center is going to be Hernan Gomez.
Okay.
It's probably going to be the starting five starting off. I'm just guessing.
That's fair.
The Knicks are so bad of an organization right now. I mean, no telling. They might actually have Melo running the point guard position.
Yeah, hey, as Brady said, he'll play, but he'll be, you have the Courtney Lee, Tim Hardaway Jr. backcourt, which is interesting. I mean, it makes sense a little bit. Personally, I think the point guard is going to end up being Ron Baker. He's not really a point guard,
Yes.
but I think Ron Baker starts out at the point. He played a lot, towards the end of the season last year, was starting a little bit over Derrick Rose. So I think Hornacek will keep Sessions off the bench. I think Ron Baker starts. I think to start the season, they probably do go Tim Hardaway Jr. You're paying him that money. He can get buckets. He can shoot. With Courtney Lee, you get a really good defensive player, and he can hit corner threes. He's 40+% this year. Was top 10 in the league, I believe. So that'll be a good thing. But you can bring him off the bench, and he'll get a ton. He'll still get starters minutes. Carmelo will start at the 3. I like Porzingis at the 4. I'm with you, Brady. I think if Noah's healthy, he's the 5. If not, it'll be Billy Hernan Gomez. But right now, that's how I think it shapes out. Gonzo, what about their bench? Who do you think is gonna see the minutes off the bench? Because you've got Lance Thomas, you got Damian Dotson, you got Kyle O'Quinn. For you, Noah would be off the bench in your scenario. You got Ntilikina, Ramon Sessions. You got a lot of guys. How do you see that?
For me, I think the main people who are going to be off the bench are going to be Dotson. Obviously, I think he's going to get a lot of tick. I think it's going to be Tim Hardaway Jr. And Michael Beasley for the most part, because he's a pretty decent rebounder coming off the bench. But Joakim Noah, I don't think he'll get a lot.
You don't think Noah's going to play? Okay, yeah, interesting. I think he plays if he's healthy to start the season. But you could be right. You could totally be right because he's just not very good anymore, even when healthy. What about you, Brady? How do you see the bench shaping out?
See a lot of minutes from Michael Beasley.
Yes.
I think he's going to get a lot of minutes. I hope, I have Noah starting. I hope that Hernan Gomez is getting more minutes than him, even if Noah's starting.
I think he will.
And I think O'Quinn's going to get a lot of minutes because he was given a lot more minutes later on in the year last year, and he really did a lot of great things with those minutes. I think Ron Baker is going to play a lot. I do think that ultimately they're going to start Sessions just to be traditional, just to have that veteran, but I think he's going to only be getting, that 15 or so minutes a night, and then they're going to go with a lot of point guardless lineups, a lot of Ron Baker running the point, a lot of Tim Hardaway Jr. running the point. I don't think we're going to see much at all of Ntilikina.
No, not at the end of the year. I think if they're as bad as we all think they're going to be, I think the last 15, 20 games he probably starts.
Yeah. Then I think we're going to see him get only garbage time minutes for.
He's going to get spot
until
minutes.
like January or February. Yeah. Then maybe he'll get some minutes, and then, like you said, last 15 or 20 games we might see him start. But I think we're going to see. I think we're just going to see them play around a lot with their wing players. I think Lee and Beasley are both going to get near starters minutes.
Oh yeah.
Even coming off the bench, I think Ron Baker is going to get 20 minutes a night coming off the bench. I think they're really just going to kind of be playing around a lot. And I know
you're with me on this. Ron Baker can play.
Oh, I love Ron Baker.
Ron Baker can play.
I love Ron Baker.
So I know he wasn't drafted, but he can play. For all those people who don't know a lot about the Knicks, Ron Baker can hoop. That guy he's just a smart basketball player. He's not really a point guard, but he's kind of got that. Like, to me, he's kind of like a poor man's Mike Miller to me. Like, he can handle the ball. He's not as good as Mike Miller was, but he has a similar type of game. That's how I see Ron Baker. But yeah, off the bench, I think I've got Ron Baker starting. I think obviously Sessions will be the backup. Courtney Lee at the 2. At the 3, I think, I think they go Kuzminskis. We didn't even talk about him much. I think
I was
Beasley,
sleeping on Kuzminskis. Yeah, I like him a lot too.
We got Kuzminskis who can do a lot of good things for him. He can play a little 4 too, and he can hit corner threes and stuff. High energy guy. I think Beasley's the 4, and I think Hernan Gomez is the 5. But Lance Thomas is going to get an opportunity to play. Ntilikina will get the spot minutes. Damian Dotson, I think, will get an opportunity here and there. He's probably the prime candidate right now for the G League. I think that's where Damian Dotson starts out, unless he just shows a ton in training camp and in the preseason. Then maybe he gets an opportunity. But that's how I see it's shaping out for them. It's going to be interesting because I think it's going to be dependent upon how they start. Because if they get off to a really bad start, let's say they're 5-20, you're going to see Ntilikina get more minutes. You're going to see Sessions won't play much. O'Quinn won't play much. Lance Thomas won't play much. Noah won't play much. And they're going to go with those young guys. But I think you're going to see quite a few veterans to start the season just because that's what a lot of coaches are going to do. Now, Gonzo, predictions. Where do you see the Knicks finishing in the East this year?
I see the Knicks finishing somewhere second to last.
Damn. You think they're bad?
I think the Knicks are terrible.
So who are they? Are they worse than the Bulls or the Nets? You like the Nets or the Bulls more than the Knicks?
I actually like the Bulls and the Nets better. It's weird.
So you think the Knicks could finish
they
dead
might
last?
actually be at the bottom.
Damn.
Yeah, the Knicks are terrible. And then think about it. They might end up trading Melo before the All-Star break.
Mm-hmm.
So you're pretty much giving in already. You can't expect Porzingis to. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's nothing against Porzingis. It's just the fact that he hasn't really been given the keys to the car yet. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's still Carmelo's team.
It's still Carmelo's team. So he's not even. I think it's kind of bad the way the organization has things set up because you can't really prime Porzingis to get ready to take that role because Melo's still there. So you're still hindering Porzingis some. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. I really hope they get a really good draft next year or something. Or, like I said, get some free agents. Hopefully get something in the trade with Melo if they could. I mean, because I would like to see the Knicks in the playoffs. I've always said I don't think the NBA playoffs is the playoffs without the Lakers and the Knicks.
Yeah, I totally agree. You got to have those two teams in, and hopefully those times are coming. Brady, where do you see the Knicks finishing this year?
I've got them a bit higher than Gonzo, even though I think they're going to be absolutely horrible. But I think they're going to be 11th or 12th.
Okay. Basically kind of where they were this year.
Basically where they were this year. A little bit better, maybe. I think the Bulls and Nets are just white-hot garbage.
I'm going to say it. They fucking suck.
Absolutely. There's no other way to say it. They fucking suck. I think the Magic are going to be pretty horrible. And I think, obviously, the Pacers, as much as I like Turner, and Oladipo might have a good year, but that team is going to be really bad. So I think they're for sure going to be above Bulls, Magic,
Nets,
and the Nets. And then they're going to be right there with the Pacers. I think the thing that gives even though the Knicks are going to be bad, they're not going to have any chance at the playoffs. But I think the one thing in their favor is they do have some young, talented players waiting in the wings that some other teams don't have. So once, like you were talking about, if they start 5-20, they're going to stop playing Noah. They're gonna stop playing Lee. They're going to stop playing Sessions.
Exactly.
They're going to stop Carmelo, and they've got players like Hernan Gomez, Kuzminskis, Baker. Players, maybe they're not that good, but they at least have a chance. You look at a team like the Nets or the Pacers. They don't have as many of those players that are 7th, 8th, 9th on the bench.
And let's just be honest.
Waiting for a chance.
Porzingis and Carmelo are better than anybody the Knicks, the Nets, the Pacers, those teams have. I mean, right now, is it safe to say Carmelo Anthony's probably a slightly better – he's still a better player than Oladipo?
Yeah, I think
I wouldn't take him over Miles Turner. But
yeah, I'd take Turner first. But other than that, Carmelo's still better than anyone on those teams. And Porzingis is obviously better than anyone on this team. So they just have a little bit more talent, and they have depth as bad as they might be. And I do think I'm kind of on the opposite side of this from Gonzo. I think when they trade Carmelo, I think that might be a little bit of a resurgence for them. I think we might see Porzingis actually feeling a little more free, actually play in his style. We might see them go more small ball. We might see them get up and down the floor a little bit faster. And in those late season games when they're playing a bunch of other bad teams that have already thrown in the towel and are tanking, they might be able to go do some interesting things.
Absolutely.
But they're still going to be horrible.
Yeah, I'm with you, Brady. I think they're better than the Bulls. I think they're better than the Nets. I think they're right there. You know, to me, they're right there with Indiana, Orlando, because I like some of Orlando's young talent. You know, I love Aaron Gordon. I think he's a special player. I know, and I do like Elfrid Payton. I know some people aren't a big fan of him because he doesn't shoot that well. Defensively, he can be inconsistent, but the potential is there. I think they're right there. You know, Atlanta's another team. I think they're right there with the Atlantas, the Indianas, and Orlando's right there. So they could fall anywhere from 10 to 12, I think. You know, and who knows if Porzingis takes that huge leap and, I mean, he freaking turns into Dirk or something this year. You never know. Maybe they can contend for the 8th seed. It's always possible in the East.
That's an important thing to remember, though, with the Knicks is because they do have that. They do have a higher ceiling than those other teams that we're lumping them with because
they got guys like Ntilikina and Porzingis.
Yeah, I mean, Porzingis is a guy who, in my opinion, is going to be a top 10 player in the league within 3 or 4 years. And you don't know how soon that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen this year, but it wouldn't surprise me. So you kind of have to count that. And their best case scenario is a lot better than a lot of these other crappy Eastern teams.
Absolutely, yeah, just because of Porzingis, Carmelo. I mean, and they've got, like I said, you know, Tim Hardaway Jr. is a good player. He's not trash. Yeah. Like, and I think everyone here will agree. Nobody thinks he sucks. Nobody thinks he's a bad player. We just don't think we just don't like the contract. That's not trashing him, though. It's the contract. You're paying him too much for what he does. I think that's what it is. You know, I mean, even if it were $10 million a year, I don't think anybody would gripe at that contract. No. You know, you'd say that's a good contract.
Totally fine.
Yeah, that's a good contract. But, you know, I think that's the big thing with him. But, yeah, they've got some talent. Like I said, I really love Damian Dotson. Let me be honest so everybody knows I'm a Houston guy. He's a Houston guy. He went to Yates High School in Houston, so that's why I'm really high on Damian Dotson. Started out at Oregon but transferred to U of H. So little history on Damian Dotson there for those of you who didn't know that stuff. You've learned something new today. It's what we try to do. But now we're going to get to our bold prediction point in our preview here. I'm going to start with you, Gonzo. What is your bold prediction for the Knicks? It could be a player, you know, a prediction about the team, or both. You can go both here if you want.
Tim Hardaway, All-Star this year.
Oh, I like it. That is bold. That is a hot take. Yes. You can't get any better than that. You cannot get any better than that. Brady, I know you can't top that.
I can't. I definitely can't top that. At least I can't top that with anything that I'm going to say with a straight face.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Hey, here's the thing, though. Gonzo's being dead serious, too.
Yeah.
You can't see his face right now, but he's being serious. Trust me.
I have 3 medium hot takes.
That's good. Go ahead. Give them all.
I think Porzingis is going to be an all-star easily.
Okay.
I think Jeff Hornacek will not make it past the all-star game.
Ooh, that is a hot take.
And I think that by the end of the year, when people look back on this draft class, they will be looking at Ntilikina as one of the better point guards. Definitely not the best, but I think his standing in the point guards after those last 20 games or so will be seen as a lot higher than it is right now.
Nice, yeah. I love Ntilikina. I've seen a couple of highlights from him overseas in his games, but young guys don't get a lot of minutes overseas. That's why his stats suck. Yeah. But I'm a big workout video person. I love watching workout videos. That's why I love Dion Waiters. His workouts videos that I saw were intense. I just loved them. And we saw what he did for Miami. It took 4 or 5 years, but finally Dion Waiters proved he's a good player like I thought he was. I love Ntilikina's workout videos. Super smooth handle.
He's got so much flow.
Yeah, good size, just smooth game, really smooth jump shot. Not quite as smooth as what's his name from the Jazz, the kid who got drafted out of
Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, Donovan Mitchell, really smooth jumper as well.
Super.
Not as smooth as him, but close, very close. He just has that silky smooth game. He's 6'4", 6'5". So I really like Ntilikina. My prediction, though, I'm with Brady. I was going to go Porzingis All-Star. I think that's not really bold though, because he was close this year. And in the East, it doesn't matter if you suck to be your team sucks. You can be an All-Star. So, man, this one is tough. I never really thought about it, but I'm gonna say I guess I'm gonna go this way. I think Tim Hardaway Jr. averages 18 points a game this year, shooting close to 40%, maybe better from three. I actually think he's gonna have a big season, and come end of the season, his contract won't look as bad as it does now. That's where I'm going with that. But I think that's going to wrap us up. I appreciate everyone coming on with us. Brady, because I want you to let everybody know where they can find you on Twitter, and also let them know where they can find some of your work.
All right. Well, that's easy enough. You can find me on Twitter, Brady Klopfer, NBA. My last name's Klopfer. You probably won't remember that, but you can find it in any of Matt's tweets for all of these stuff.
Yep.
You can find me at bballbreakdown.com. And very shortly, you'll be finding me at goldenstateofmind.com as well.
Nice. Yes, hey, this podcast would not be complete without a mention of Golden State Warriors.
It's gotta.
It comes off as we're a pro Golden State pod. It's not Brady's. He's in California, so he, but we do like the Golden State Warriors. I'm a Steph Curry's my favorite player, so naturally I do like the Warriors. I am a Bull. I like the Bulls and the Lakers. Those are my two teams, but I do like Golden State because of Steph Curry. And Gonzo just knows how good they're. I mean, Gonzo, you probably have them sweeping the finals again this year, right?
Absolutely.
See, there you go. And Gonzo's not a Warriors fan; he's just a realist. Gonzo's a Bulls fan. He's like me. But, I mean, there's not much to say about the Bulls. Hopefully, Larry Markkinen gives us something to talk about this year. Other than that, man, it's going to be a long season. Hey, you know what the benefit, though, is, Gonzo? When we can go to Bulls games now, we can probably get tickets.
$3 probably.
Yeah, I'm not going. I'm boycotting the Bulls. I'm not watching.
Hey, man, I'm telling you, I'm going to see the Lakers this year, the Kings, because they only come once, and I'm going to try to see. I think it'll be easier to get Golden State tickets this year.
Yeah, it might be like 300 instead of 700.
Yeah, man, last year, because I went 2 years ago when they were defending champions. I went, what was that, 2016, January I went. Man, we paid we were close, and we paid like $300 a seat when we went. Man, we tried to get those same seats last season. KD's there now. Tell me why they were like $1,000.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, and that whole thing is. I mean, the aura is off of Golden State. We've seen it once. It's not going to be as big a deal as it was last year. So hopefully those tickets go down to like $300 again, which is still a lot of damn money. And it was the first tier. They got like 3 tiers at the United Center, but it was in the first tier. So yeah, $1,000, but it was more towards the back of the first tier. It's still $1,000 for one seat, not 4 seats, one. Yeah,
that's unreal.
Yeah, thank you, Golden State Warriors. I had to watch it on TV. I'm glad I didn't go because not only did KD not play because he was hurt, so it wouldn't have been the same as watching it, but they lost. It was a bad game. It really wasn't an exciting game. So I guess I didn't miss out much. But hopefully this year, I got to see the Lakers and the Kings, though. The Lake Show is going to be – they're back. It's going to be fun to watch.
Can't miss that.
Yeah, but the 3 of us, we'll all be back Friday. We're going to do the Phoenix Suns. That should be interesting. They got a lot of good young players. Same time. Now, I know tonight we got started a little late. Some of us, we couldn't all get on here right on time. So that's all right. That's why we always tweet it out. But once again, thank you everybody for tuning in, listening to us. For those who are going to watch the archive footage, I'll get this up on iTunes tomorrow. Hopefully, it should be up tomorrow. So for all those listening on iTunes, thank you. Leave us a review. Let us know what you think. If you think we suck, let us know why we suck. If you love it, give us that 5-star review. Same thing on YouTube. If you're watching the archive, leave a comment. Let us know. You think we're trash? Hey, we want to improve. If you love it, let us know. But we'll see everybody again Wednesday night, 9:30 Eastern is what we're shooting for. If there's any change, we'll let everybody know. But until Wednesday, we'll see y'all later.